in it. We are asking for support from as many of those sources that are able to help us close that gap. And once we meet it, we're done. We don't have to ask for a dime more than that. So my only ask would be that you keep us in mind when you come to the point of deciding where you want those dollars to be spent. We know there are many priorities, many sources of support that may or may not be already on the way at the federal, state, or local level. But we just would appreciate the opportunity to have a conversation if the opportunity arises for you to give consideration to that.
Was that a request outlined in your?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so
The package you have there contains really what I sent you on June 24th.
okay, so we could.
I hope I sent it to the right party.
We'll get to this.
So
We
should
can accept that as a formal request, and then we'll start looking at that. Council, do you have any questions? Mr. Woody? Very forward, appreciate it. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you.
Could I ask maybe Ryan what our timeline would be for?
Well, with the CARES Act, the funds that are coming our way, I don't know the answer to that, but I can certainly check with Peter.
Okay, all right. Part of the meeting, I was asked by Jeff Slater, representing Cowville, to address council. So Jeff, I'll give you the opportunity. Address council this time, please.
Thank you, Mark. Jeff from Cowville, I'm the West Commodore, and every year we give you some numbers of what we've done this year, presenting with a check, and they have that tonight. We had an attendance probably 700 less than what we had last year, but it turned out great without your support, Mr. Janik and everything. I think it went fantastic. So I had a check for $1,500 for you.
Okay. All right.
And I think we're still waiting for police bill from the police yet, so that's about our only outstanding thing. Any other questions or?
Yeah. Anything?
What did you estimate the turnout to be?
1,600 versus last time we had it was around 23. But we had some really good sponsors this year, so a lot more money went to the club to help more people. So we were excited.
So from a fundraising standpoint, approximate.
I don't have that. The check is based off of that.
We guys certainly do a lot of good things.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, right.
Any other questions? Yeah.
No, it turned out great. It was
Yeah.
really fantastic. I like the setup that you have. It was just
Yeah.
fantastic. Everybody commented how
Yeah.
fantastic the setup was, and I hope you do it that way next year.
Yeah, we're hoping to do it too. The stage was right around $500 just for that, so we had sponsors. for it. And we're sorry about the fireworks, but it just couldn't hold it together.
I don't think anybody was complaining. That was way better than this time. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Joe. Okay, now I will open the floor to comments by the public. Anyone wish to address council on agenda items this evening, please step forward. Okay, if none, we'll move on to, I've already got public, they have a second opportunity to address the council later in the meeting on any agenda item or non-agenda item, sorry, that they wish to talk to us about. Moving on, reports, Sauter Township Fire District. And Chief, I'll let you guys decide if you want to go first.
This report's on the February meeting on the 16th of August. Sorry, I think it's 16th of August. It says 2020 here. But that's my mistake. Anyway, in order, we reviewed the fire district financials, include payments totaling over $105,000 for the month. Chief Janik updated us as he regularly does. on the call report and analysis, the deck of which has been sent to council previously. As a top line, motor vehicle incidents are up 57% versus year ago. And overall responses for the fire department are up 16% so far this year. Noted fire deaths in Michigan and now stand at 76 and 67 fires so far in 2021. Noted the souls for souls, that's SOLES for SOULS. Charitable used shoe collection program continues at the fire station. 5 large boxes so far. I have some for the box today. Noted receipt of a $1,658 grant received for personal protective equipment related to COVID. Reported 3 emergency responders, Caleb Desmond, Sean Marr, and Jim Lacey, have received their EMTB certifications. Noted these certifications require 242 hours of study each. Chief noted that a settlement is being finalized in the matter of the housing development in the township. That agreement is still going through the process. Adoption takes several steps. Involves the addition of an 8-inch water main and 8 fire hydrants to serve that development. She reported on 3 township fire district carbon monoxide saves over in the most recent period. One involved an on-demand on-demand water heater at a short-term rental that was housing 2 families. The other 2 calls involved an improperly vented generator at this. Those second set of calls, those 2 calls at the same location. Obviously, in both cases, the risks to the inhabitants were severe. He noted further that the carbon monoxide detectors are true lifesavers, and the devices and installation in the fire district are available from the township fire district, free by way of a form on the website. Or expecting this to happen at the station as well. The fire district received a thank you from the family regarding the memorial service participated in this conversation. Updated board on the status of Fireboat 392, which, as you will know, sunk. Insurance investigation is complete, and a second investigation is underway to determine, if possible, the cause. The boat is now located at the marine contractor to determine the salvageability of the boat and its contents, and particularly the fire pump and the 2 motors. Finally, the fire board unanimously approved sending a letter. Should have been in your packet from the fire department to the Allegheny County Commissioners, emphasizing the need for traffic control devices at Allegheny Blue Star Highway at that intersection. The 5th incident there has just occurred since the beginning of the year. As to those reports that we got, all that and more are available to you if you have questions. If you choose
So, I've noticed a lot of, obviously, the call volume has been huge the last week. It's been, some very crazy calls that we just don't see very often. The ambulance has been coming to town, and it seems like it's coming from Holland, right? Is it more likely that it comes from Holland or more likely that it comes from Fenway?
Chief, you probably better answer that tonight.
Yeah,
Can I answer that?
sure, yeah.
So it's a good question. How would cover from Riley Road up to 130th, and then Fenville AMR would cover the south portion. And then like the ambulance sits south, they would back up AMR. So most likely you're going to see AMR in our town.
Yeah. Did you notice that? So most of the time, because it seemed like all of the calls that I had seen Easy enough, I saw the ambulance a million times, it seemed like, but
Nailed it.
they seemed like they were coming from the south,
Or
or from the north, I'm sorry, from Holland Way.
Right, you know, they seem to have shifted more towards our area, activity in the summer is spike. So they tend to have a presence here more, and I wish they were at the station.
Yeah,
So you're right, absolutely right.
they seem to have a quick response. Were you guys happy with how quickly they responded?
Yes, with some reservations.
Obviously, it'd be quicker if they were at your place, but.
We've had some priority ones where we're 35, 40 minutes waiting for them. I don't mean to go, stop me, Mr. Mayor. The system's over text. ALS, Advanced Life Support, is over text. So you're going to see increases, so the first responders, which are us, become more essential because there's no one available. So that is something to plan for, take into consideration. That's what we were always seeing that. And then you have a division of services between life and AMR. And, but it's blending pretty well. I just think core responses, the system's over text. ALS is definitely known. They don't want to be paramedics anymore. To make $21.50 an hour, they can only be nurses. Make over $30 an hour. So that's another problem. That makes sense?
It does. Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions?
Or it's a subject that the department and board spend ongoing time looking at ways those times might be improved. Unfortunately, most of those ways involve locating an ambulance or two and crews here. That's a significant amount of money that is not in the fire district's budget or on the fire district's mission as it stands. So to accomplish that, we're probably looking at a new taxing body or taxing authority to afford that. And the comments have been made at the district board meetings in the past, that's something that really has to be presented to the voter because manages like that, services like that cost money. Somebody's got to pay. Another, and believe me, it's a big, that as soon as we even have a place to put them in the fire department. So, with that, as we all know, a minute ago, it's been over the past 14 days for sure. It's been a completely nutty situation here with 3 fatalities, 1 potential drowning, 1 fatality, one of those 3 in the city, the other 2 outside the city. So 2 of them, I think, involving water rescue resources. So Chief is here. Some more informed update.
Mayor,
Yes.
I don't know if this is best held from the sheriff's office here, but I do have a question on the most recent fatality that was.
Yeah, I think Lieutenant Pencil is going to speak after Chief.
Hi, Greg Jennings, Sullivan Township, President. I thought it would be interesting to maybe share some recent marine activity briefly. 7 deaths and 3 deaths in 7 days. Something we haven't seen or experienced, 2 of them water related. Unfortunately, alcohol is a big factor in 2 of these. It's just something our society is dealing with, and so are we. We crafted, and Patty, that'll come out to the council later on. We crafted a 5-year data chart that tracks activity, boats in distress, missing persons. I thought would be interesting, which we haven't really done before, because the call volume on the water has really spiked. And so, you have the Coast Guard that is sometimes available. We all seem to take turns on availability and who's going to respond. We had a medical on Lake Michigan Friday night around 10 p.m. It was one patient that turned into 3. Lord, maybe you saw the fishing boat we had to pull in. And it was a precarious situation at best because, you try to teach your partner, your spouse, to know how to run the boat in case something happens, and this was the case where it didn't happen. So we had to get them before they ran on shore with the boats, and the sheriff deputy was successful in that. And they were in a smaller boat, so they couldn't do any towing. And I had the larger fireboats, and treating them, getting them off the boat, getting them onto our boats became problematic. So we managed it, we towed everything in to the dock, which is not easy at 11:15 at night when some boats don't run lights. So we managed, we got it, and the gentleman picked up the boat this morning. Obviously was most appreciative. But you never know what you're gonna get. You had a smaller police boat, PB1, the bigger one, wasn't available. So one of our lieutenants happened to be out in Lake Michigan with his family on a private boat. He called me on the phone, turned around and went back to go help. He actually towed that boat to our fire boat because they were 2 feet of water, and I keep going 2 feet of water. They were also almost on top of the submerged pilings on Old Beach. So those are the types of things you run into that are kind of hard to plan for. But between the county and sometimes the Coast Guard and the fire department, we manage. And then we all know, 2:15 later on, we had another tragedy that is still numbing to us. We're still trying to come to grips with what happened. So I just want to reach out to you with that. Speaking of the one on Butler Street, and I'll let Lieutenant review on that. I can share this with you, that one of your designated sheriff deputies, Jason Krukov, nothing short of sheer heroics, what he did. To go into the water, dive under the water, break a window and pull somebody out. It was probably twice the size of him. Sheer heroics. And he is my hero. We got him to the seawall. Our people were on the shore doing CPR immediately. Unfortunately, we couldn't save him. But I can't speak more highly of his actions. And I commend him and I commend the county for having some good people. That's all I have.
Any other further questions?
Chief, if I could go back to the earlier conversation about ambulances. Do you keep statistics on response rates and stuff like that? So
We do, we get them quarterly from the ambulance companies. They're behind on light ambulance as far as responses go. So there's a big difference between priority 1 and then 2s and 3s. So they'll average 12, maybe 14 minutes, depending upon the time of the year for priority 1 response average. But there are those one-off calls where, you think you've got something that's not really going to turn out well, that it seems like forever. Thus, that's why Dan mentioned we're researching becoming transport. We wouldn't become paramedics, that's a whole nother payroll, 400K plus to try to staff that, and we don't need that. And we would have the option, if they're too far away, we can transport. So we would do a basic life support system. We've already investigated, talked to some fire departments that have done it, talked to some consultants without committing a $30,000 study on the subject.
okay,
So we have that, plans, we would have that option. Transport or not, depends on where they're at. And even the medical director of Allen County, Dr. Massenbrook, agreed with us that the system is overtaxed. We were shocked when he put that in a public meeting.
Chief, for the benefit of council, I think it's the same situation, we're alluding to the fact that south of Wiley Road is handled out of Fenville through Life Ambulance.
Yes,
And that is a tax supported, is that not?
it's what,
There is a village
yes.
part in the southern part of Saudi Township, city of.
Fenville ambulance.
Just has a district. And then, yeah, so that's, they actually have a tax. The Saudi Township Board opted to go in that direction. Quite a few years.
One time, then they stopped, suspended it because the issue was with township, understandably, was AMR had to go through township to get to the healthcare facility in Douglas. But Douglas didn't have to pay the millage, Fenville did, or Sauk Township. So they suspended it for, I don't know, 6 years. Now it's reinstated.
It's just something that I think a lot of people are aware of.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Our sheriff, department report. My daughter had soccer practice tonight, so figured I didn't want to stay around in uniform. Everybody's looking at me thinking I'm not doing anything.
Thought you were working under cover.
Oh, yeah. I did that for about 10 years, so. I've been doing a lot of planning, we're talking to Douglas a little bit about the fireworks. We got that, under control, for that weekend of those events. As Chief alluded to, it's been busy last couple days. We've been trying to just compile all the reports and information on all that stuff. For the summer.
Mentioned 3 fatalities in the year. I called 2 of them on Water Road. Was there a car accident? Or?
The other one was a tree trimmer.
Oh, that's right.
Failure,
That one.
mechanical failure.
Yeah.
And it was in Douglas.
Very attractive.
Yes.
Good.
So, Mayor, go back to the other fatality. Has the investigation so far identified any deficiencies in terms of our signage in the city on that street? Should we be looking at any changes to signage? Or is the investigation like in a different direction? That's not a factor.
It's not 100% down, but I don't believe that's probably a factor.
Okay.
And we're still looking at those several other items of the case that really can't speak into it too much. I mean, obviously, you probably just figure out. Interviewing a bunch of people and stuff, and just trying to figure out what happened and dot all the T's and all the I's and stuff like this stuff. And just, so. Thorough we can be.
So nothing has emerged out of the case of that. That is, I think, these type of incidents, involve choices about consuming alcohol and driving. And I think that it's tragic that happened. Hopefully it's preventable, it's not.
I think behalf of the city and the council, we too wish to express our gratitude to Jason Kraloff. We've all heard bits and pieces about that, but Greg wasn't a witness of it, so.
Yeah, Jason, I talked to Jason today, I mean, he's upset about it, but he did what he could do, so. Probably did better than I did. During everybody's career, they have certain moments where he was able to help somebody or give it the best chance.
So I would like, I think, I would speak for council, if we could look at somehow writing up some type of recognition. Yeah, for the city, or Jason's file, that's true.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly protocol, but I'm sure you can work it out.
Yeah, we can work it out, sure, so, yeah. So, something where, yeah, we're recognizing that sheriff's office too, with that process, obviously, just like any other.
He's kind of one of our Russell guys too.
Yeah, Jason does a great job. You know, he's, good worker, definitely, if I have any social media needs, you know, he's the person to go to. He's actually put quite a few cases together with just, you know, making social media and. So.
Moving on this evening, we have no unfinished business. First, business, agenda item, special event request.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, this is on page 59 of your agenda packet. Doesn't look like there's a cover page, but the recommended motion would be to approve the special event application as presented. Correct?
Just an overview of this workshop last Wednesday. Council have any specific questions related to that? Comments?
They'll be done by 3 o'clock, is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes. Any questions? Doesn't be.
No.
Okay, all right. So if there's no questions, a motion to approve the special event.
So moved.
Okay, motion by Stanton, second by Trester to approve the special event request by the SCN. Scheduled for this Friday, isn't it? And as presented. Any further questions or discussion? If none, all those in favor of the motion say yes.
Yes.
Yes, opposed, none opposed, so carried. Moving on to a special liquor license transfer social district Burrito Police.
Mr. Mayor, likewise, I would recommend that you approve this liquor license transfer social district application as presented.
The background of this, I believe, is just a change of ownership of, not a food change of ownership. I know there's several
Correct.
related entities as part of that.
Exactly.
Family operation.
Exactly right. This is an internal change for their incorporation.
Any additional questions by council? Anything we should have in the roll call, specific paragraph for license plate?
Yeah.
Roll, please.
Did someone motion?
Oh, yeah. Motion for-
You read it, you read it as stated, just trying to find it.
Yeah, I think we could just make, approve the liquor license transfer if presented for.
Motion to approve the liquor license transfer as presented.
Second.
So now we have a motion and a second.
Dean,
Yes.
Stanton,
Yes.
Trester,
Yes.
Beckett,
Yes. Yeah, it might be something that we have to show who's here and who voted. Next, business, agenda item is appointment for various boards and commissions. Hubbub that we've been running through with the city staff and things that we've kind of let this get away from us a little bit. We have various positions open. The two I want to address this evening, the two appointees this evening are the two representatives who are that are up for renewal on the planning commission. That would be Dan Fox, Marcia Gasper. The rest of the board, we will be having to get in contact with them, and so we'll be presenting them to the future meeting. But Planning Commission has some things on their agenda this week, so. That's my recommendation, is to reappoint, Dan Fox and, Marcia Casper, the Sauk City Planning Commission. I have a motion for that.
Mr. Mayor, I would move to reappoint Dan Fox and Marcia Casper to the planning commission for another term.
Second. Okay, we have a motion by, Trustee, seconded by Dean. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say yes. Yes. Opposed? Will carry unanimously. We'll be working on the other appointments that will be presented in the council next meeting. Should we move public comment out before we go into?
I was going to suggest that.
Yeah. So we're gonna open up the council comment, or I'm sorry, public comment. Moving ahead to this time in the meeting, so anyone who wishes to address council. We're going to be going into an executive session. Not sure how long it might take, it might be a shorter one, might be a longer one, who knows? We may be coming, we'll be coming back into public session after that meeting. If there is, public left for those, usually they don't stick around for the reschedule, but if there is, we'll also open it up then for some public comment. So does anyone wish to address council? Jane?
Yes, James, Sargasar. I noticed in the packet that you're looking at Park Street, and I would just like to say it's a miracle that there has not been a tragedy this summer so far. Just a few days ago, I saw a woman, a very small woman, pushing a double stroller with 2 children in it along Park Street. And I thought, oh my God. So I know you have a lot on your plate, but it's kind of scary along there. Thank you.
Okay, then.
Okay, Fox, I just wanted to throw, I know you guys are looking at about strategizing whatever the pop-up patios in the city. I'll throw just a couple of observations into that mix. Along the lines that basically, it seems to me that pop-up patios were originally a really good idea in a very trying time when restaurant businesses were struggling, where COVID requirements for outdoor, allowances for outdoor activities to help the businesses in town. And based on my observations, those 2 conditions no longer exist, really. The restaurants are now closing 1 or 2 or 3 days a week in some cases because they don't have staff. So during those, whatever amount of time any given place is closed, their extension into the street goes with it. And I think I've heard a number of locals bitterly complain about looking for a parking place and driving by barrels with people sitting in chairs, tables and so forth. So it makes sense that I get outdoor dining and whatever. I'm wondering if maybe an answer mid-ground isn't to allow the use of the, whatever you call it, just from the sidewalk on the street, but eliminate the street use for private purposes, which you call whatever you want. It's a subsidy of private enterprise by the city, and it's a significant amount of money both ways in terms of parking for residents and tourists, the cost of doing that work, and the simple lack of availability of access to restaurants and so forth. So, I mean, I love the restaurants. I love the bars. I know we're bar operators. employees and stuff, our owners in this town, and I think that's what normal person would, but in any case, I want to throw that in. Also, Mr. Mayor, if I might, you can save me waiting around downstairs if you either or postpone it until the next meeting, whatever. There is a planning commission meeting report that Chris would have made, and she said, she called me today to text me, I remember saying she couldn't be there, so she asked me to make that report. I don't, need it, I don't need to do it.
Is there any, Debbie, if you want to give us a quick synopsis at this time? If you want,
I'll give you
what you got?
what I wrote.
All right.
So that was on the 19th.
For 3 minutes, then.
3 minutes is gone.
Yeah, yes. This one there's no time.
I'll try and beat it under 3 minutes. On the 19th, we met for a little over an hour. We had a quorum. Marcia was on the phone. Chris was not available for the meeting. We had the rest of the members there. We heard from the applicant concerning a requested special land use at 900 Lake Street, which is the Hotel Saugatuck property, seeking approval of the conversion of an existing 2-story building. And it's behind the hotel, presently used as a garage with an apartment, converting it to a conference space for hotel guests. Building is located in the R Resort District C4, the purpose of which includes, quote, provide compatible zoning for existing and future hotels, motels, bed and breakfast. So on a number of permitted uses. Commissioner, the builder and zoning administrator, the objective building footprint will not be increased. The historical commission has already approved the design. We held a public hearing on the matter, and aside from the builder, public comment. The commissioners discussed and ultimately approved the special land use, finding the proposed use to be within the scope of the zoning ordinance and in keeping with normal amenities provided by many hotels and the like. Motion to approve included a condition that persons using the meeting facility must be hotel guests. I think the number, I can't remember. I think the number of people allowed was 18. Second thing we did at the request of zoning administrator will review provisions of the existing zoning ordinance as it relates to front yard setbacks in the C4 zoning district. In this case, on properties on Mason Street, directly behind and across the street from the back of the SDA. While the current ordinance requires setback to be 20 feet there, many of these properties currently exist with setbacks of 10 feet or less. Commission discussions brought to our attention by the zoning administrator. The commission discussion concerned the possibility of amending the ordinance in such a way that would provide for a more accurate reflection of existing home setbacks in the surrounding area, rather than potentially mandating moving a house back in the event of reconstruction such that it would be, if you did that, the house you move back would then be 20 feet back, and you basically look at the size of 2 houses long instead. And this specific issue concerns the owner to 350 Mason Street. St. Joseph. Zoning administrator suggested the commission concurred that she further investigate the matter in an effort to develop language, study the matter, and also to develop language for potential modification of the ordinance. And this doesn't die from overwork, the English to review such language of the commission. And finally, the commission heard in the second public hearing periods from members of the public registering number of complaints concerning the operation of retail businesses adjoining his property. Zoning administrator advised us that the matter that the city was investigating or deciding on enforcement directive, and that was being reviewed by the lawyers on the matter. And that's it. We ended the meeting.
Okay, thanks. Any questions regarding Dan? Regarding this, to give you a little bit of information regarding pop-ups, I'll just read from the city manager's report regarding pop-ups that Kate Wright, our city intern, is wrapping up her survey. We sent out surveys to restaurant and retail businesses regarding the potholes. Copy of our survey and background work on Annandale staff will provide a presentation and bring recommendations for council to consider for the 22 season at a future meeting. So that's kind of where we're at with that now. I think part of the discussion is something I would like to see is how we can pull it up general public into this also, not just the business community. I think they certainly have a stake in it too. But we've got lots of time to work on that. And thanks for your comments. So this part of the meeting going into an executive or a closed session. Oh, I think that we have another item. I'm looking at the minute. So, council plans to go into executive session at this stage of the meeting. Do I have a motion that was presented by city staff, legal counsel? Which one, Harry, will ask people to do? The motion? Yes, but,
How do you want regarding the enforcement of workers' violations at 443 Park Street?
okay, a roll call, please, the motion.
Truster,
Yes.
Stanton,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Beckon. Just a second to stop all of the videos.
Next, 25 acres, purchase price of $168,000. That was Catalina property. Staff is going in there to secure it. There's some old buildings, small storage, old storage buildings, and there are a couple of old little cottages that who knows where they came from. Nice raccoon homes now. So that wraps it up from Cali. Can't get any generators. We ordered 4 generators and can't get them. 2 of them are like 2 years behind, so they have to run around with these, the ones on the wheels, and they're going, move them here, from there. But we didn't have a 1 sewer backup that we know of, so power outage. Anything else? No other boards or commissions, council comments?
Just one, I mean, this evening's session has been very thought provoking for me, you know, we had a fatality, which shouldn't have happened, you know, regardless of what decision the person may or may not make. The town's getting busier, which is a good thing, but potentially, we don't know the outcome of the investigation yet, but potentially someone was overserved. That's potentially. The comments been made that we have an overtaxed emergency response system. We don't have an ambulance in the community. We're going to embark, obviously this did not occur in the social district, but we are embarking on making it, you know, once again, the opportunity for people to move around with tricks accessible to them. So I think this should be something we as council discuss next time we get together for strategic planning session to look and probably have, as we did last time, have the chief and some of his team and the sheriff's office with us to talk about how we think about keeping people safe and stuff, I think it's more and more popular. People, are enjoying what we have to offer. Because, we should be looking out for, our residents and our guests in this town. It's a tragedy that someone died this weekend. And, was it preventable? We don't know. So could response time, quick response time help? Who knows? Could education at the bars and restaurants help? We don't know. But I think it's something to talk about because it just becomes not just an anomaly, and I hope it was. We start seeing this every summer. Could give some thinking about a number of things.
I would consider this a rare exception from living here.
I certainly
And
hope
it
so.
was, I would say water fatality. It's been going on for as long as I can remember. My dad actually was the harbor master. He had the Coast Guard, the Coast Guard Rotary, and there were deaths in Water Island Lake, probably more so back in those days. So we're probably fortunate we don't have more with the amount of boats and all the crazy things that go on. Inexperienced people going out in rough water. It's got a lot to do. I was out in the lake before that, right in that general area.
Yeah,
Shortly
a
before.
lot of us were.
So was Ryan. A little rough. But anyways, yeah, it's like driving,
Yeah, I mean,
It's man, how that guy got that car where he did. The streets don't get like that. He almost ended up with Johnson County. Something flipped her. He must have known what a bet on Allen. But it's not very cheap.
I just come from a world where, an industry that has its share of terrible accidents, and we finally had to start to look at our operations, the way the airlines look at their operations. And any incident that involves loss of life or an environmental incident just dictated the need for thorough root cause investigation and find ways to plug those gaps, if any exist.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a pretty thorough investigation by the county sheriff's department. From what I'd like to believe, they're just, I think, just getting started on it. So, my understanding that there was some actual contact between Jason and the person prior to the getting in his car and leaving.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of things that will need to be, ironed out regarding this. And I don't think it's anything that's not, now, to the degree and what happened is all over the place from rumors. So it wasn't like there was no interaction between the parties prior to this. I think that's it.
I'll wait for the report.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fair.
So,
On that matter, should we be appointing Larry Rose for the library board?
well, we will, and we also need to appoint, but we haven't really had an opportunity to contact them yet to see what their interested. So that's why I'll have.
Well, I'm looking for that.
Yeah, well, we'll just have to wait now for September meeting to wrap up. So that's all there is. Motion to adjourn.
Second.